ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा। ईश्वर भक्ति भाव से बहती संस्कारों की धारा, भारत माँ की सेवा में गीता परिवार हमारा, गीता परिवार हमारा।
जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ, जय भारत माँ, जय गीता माँ।
अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
वेणुर्मधुरो रेणुर्मधुराः पाणिर्मधुराः पादौ मधुरौ नृत्यं मधुरं सख्यं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भुक्तं मधुरं सुप्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
हरणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं स्मरणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं शमितं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
कुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीथी मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरम्।
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं, मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्।
गोपी मधुरा मधुरं मुक्तं मधुरं दृष्टं मधुरं शिष्टं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा दलितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरम्
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम्
सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले संग्राममय जीवन धरा पर विजय रथ ले हम चले सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित जले हो समर्पण लखन जैसा राम जैसा त्याग हो भीष्म सा हो नियम पालन शौर्य में अभिमन्यु हो आपदाओं को कुचल कर वीर बालक हम चले सद्गुणों की साधना में ध्येय ज्योति नित
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मनु मुकुरु सुधारी बरनउ रघुबर विमल जसु जोदायकु फलचारी बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीस तिहु लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा कानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र और ध्वजा विराजे कांधे मूज जनेऊ साजे शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगवंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सियहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर संहारे रामचंद्र के काज संवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुबीर हरषि उर लाए रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरतई सम भाई सहस बदन तुम रोजस गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिक्पाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सकै कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीन्हा। तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना, लंकेश्वर है सब जग जाना। जुग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु, लील्योता ही मधुर फल जानू। प्रभु मुद्रिका मेली मुख माही, जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हरे तेते। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे। सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना, तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना। आपन तेज सम्हारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनावे। नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीरा। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साजा। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है, प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा, सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुबर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई, हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, छूट ही बंदी महा सुख होई। जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा, होय सिद्धि साखी गौरीसा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा, कीजय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरना, मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित, हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय, पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय।
Jai Shri Krishna. In Zoom meeting, if you want to turn off the notification of Zoom chats, then click on the chats and then click on these three dots. Turn off notifications, click on that. Click on the mute option, and now chats notification will not disturb you. Jai Shri Krishna.
सच्चिदानन्दं वासुदेवं व्रजप्रियं धर्मसंस्थापकं वीरम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्।
Jai Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna Vande Jagadgurum. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā is not only a scripture but a life guide. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putra Geetam, Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva. There is only one scripture, the song of the son of Devaki, and there is only one God, the son of Devaki. It is indeed a true blessing to learn the Geeta from Geeta Pariwar. This organization, which is a divine gift, is the inspired creation and vision of our Paramapuji Acharyaji Govind Dev Giriji Maharaj. In addition to memorizing the Geeta, the weekend Vivechan sessions serve a dual purpose. They deepen our knowledge and empower us to embody the teachings and ultimately transforming our lives. We extend a warm welcome to you all to today's session. we are having the third and concluding interpretation session on the 13th Adhyaya of Śrīmad-Bhagavadgītā, Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. A request before we get going, we are all connected virtually, so there might be some technical issues. If you face any of these issues during the session, please try to follow these steps. If you are not getting any sound, use a headphone or increase the volume of your either your laptop or your mobile. Chat box is blinking continuously. You can tap the bell icon at the top right corner to mute the notifications so that you won't get disturbed during the session. If the voice is breaking or cutting, check your internet connection, and if possible, you can use Wi-Fi instead of mobile data. If the screen is not visible, it goes without saying, try to use the start video in Zoom. If the screen is blurry, it could be because of the slow internet speed. Try switching your network or move to a different location within your house or wherever you're joining this session from. If Zoom suddenly closes, rejoin using the meeting link. If Zoom keeps disconnecting, you can always watch the session through the live YouTube link. Okay, now let us get started. As the saying goes, Tena vina trunam apina chalati. Without Almighty's grace, not even a single blade of grass can move. So let us pray to the Bhagavan and seek the blessings. To recite the Prarthana, we have Dr. Krishna Bhushan Mahashabdeji with us. Krishna Bhushan ji is an architect and arbitrator from Nasik, Maharashtra, who has handled many prestigious projects as a consultant architect to Government of India with an impressive array of degrees in law, including doctorate. Associated with Geeta Pariwar since November 2024, Krishna Bhushan ji is already offering seva as a group coordinator, GC mentor, monitor, and a member of admission team. I request Krishna Bhushan ji Bhaiya ji to recite the prayer. Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya ji.
वसुदेव सुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. जय श्री कृष्ण.
Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya ji. Very beautiful, crisp recitation of the Dhyana Shloka. Thank you so much. Now, let us do the Deepa Prajvala. Let us ward off the tamas in and around us with the Jyoti. Deepa Jyotif Parabrahma, Deepa Jyotir Janardanaha, Deepo Haratu Me Papam, Deepa Jyotir Namostute. To do the Deepa Prajvalan, we have Srimati Padmaji with us. Padmaji is a homemaker joining us from Kochi, Kerala. Didi ji is doing seva as a GC and tech star, even though she joined Geeta Pariwar just in February 2025. She's already doing seva. I request Padmaji to light the lamp. Jai Shri Krishna Padmaji.
निषिद्धैरप्येभिर्लुलितमकरन्दो मधुकरैः करैरिन्दोरन्तश्छुरित इव सम्भिन्नमुकुलः विधत्तां सिद्धिन्नो नयनसुभगामस्य सदसः प्रकीर्णः पुष्पाणां हरिचरणयोरञ्जलिरयम् शरदिन्दुनिभां शुभ्रवस्त्रैरलङ्कृताम् कलहंसकृतावासां वरदां शारदां नुमः.
Thanks so much for that beautiful Deepa Prajvalan. And we got to see Bhagwan Krishna ji, Bal Kanhaya ji, and Radha Krishna ji as well. Beautiful puja place as well. Thank you so much, Padma ji. Now, before we get started, just a quick announcement. L2 grammar sessions are scheduled for tomorrow, 9 a.m. IST in English and 11 a.m. IST in Hindi. Please plan on attending this session of your choice to learn the fundamental grammatical aspects of the Sanskrita language relevant to Gita teaching. And the second, another important announcement, the celebration of Gita Jayanti, which is held annually on the Shukla Ekadashi of Margashira Masa, is being marked by Geeta Pariwar with a special Divine Mahotsav from November 15 to December 31st. We can join the festivities by hosting local events such as Geeta Parayana or Shobha Yatra and logging them on the official online portal of Geeta Pariwar. Furthermore, Geeta Pariwar is scheduling 60 online Parayana sessions. Please stay tuned for the schedule details. Now it is the time for the most awaited part of the session, Vivechan by respected Shri Vikas Vaidya ji Bhaiya ji. Vikas Vaidya ji is accomplished in many areas, thriving in both business and spiritual life. An engineer by training with degrees in BE Mechanical and PG Diploma in Management, he now successfully runs his own IT firm in Pune. His 12 years of experience abroad has made him a true global citizen. He knows many languages such as Hindi, Marathi, English, Indonesian, Malaysian, and Spanish as well. When it comes to spirituality, he maintains an ideal balance among seva, sadhana, and satsanga, the three pillars of spiritual practice. A deeply committed spiritual practitioner, he has not only memorized the entire Bhagavad-Gītā, but he has received first prize at the hands of Parama Puji Guruji of Sringeri. His devotion is evident in his daily routine of reciting 18 chapters, a practice he has maintained for over 5 straight years. As a core member of Geeta Pariwar, he mentors and trains sadhakas at all 4 levels, trains new trainers, and he is involved in the trainers selection and training for all 4 levels. Vaidya ji Bhaiya ji is a member of Geeta Pariwar's Pune branch. He imparts spiritual wisdom through the Vivechan sessions and also teaches Vishnu Sahasranam. He also guides Geeta Vratis in order to prepare for the Sringeri Pitha's Geeta exam. It is indeed our honor and privilege to welcome Shri Vikas ji Vaidya ji Bhaiya ji to today's interpretation session on Kshetra Kshetrajna Yoga. Respected Vikas ji Vaidya ji, we respectfully request you to share your spiritual wisdom with us. Jai Shri Krishna Bhaiya ji.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Vasudeva Devam Kausachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum Krishnau Vande Jagadgurum. Pujya Swami ji ke charan kamalon mein koti koti naman. A warm welcome to all of you for this last session of Kshetra Kshetra Bhaga Yoga, 13th Adhyaya Bhagavad-Gītā, which we have been enjoying studying for last 2 sessions. Last time we concluded the session with a very wonderful slok. Upadrashtanumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwarah paramatmeti cha apyukto dehesmin purushah parah. So this slok is the foundation of Bhagavad Gita, as we discussed last time, that Paramatma's role in us, that Mamai Mamshu Jiva Loke and Sarvasya Aham Risan Navishto, it depends on our karma. Initially he is only Upadrashta, then Anumanta, then Bharata, then Bhakta, and ultimately Maheshwara. So after knowing this wonderful thing about ourselves, let us continue with Shlok 23. So in Shlok 19 to 22, Shri Krishna Bhagavan explained us about Purush and Prakriti. Now what do we gain by learning this Purush and Prakriti? Shri Krishna Bhagavan says the reward of knowing this Purush and Prakriti in this Shlok 23rd. Evam vetti purusham prakrtaincha gunais saha sarvatha vartamanopi nasabhuyo vijayate. He who knows Purush, that is the spirit, soul, Atma, and the Prakriti, the nature, together with its modes, though he acts in every way, sarvatha vartamanopi, that is whatever state of life he may be in, he acts according to that state of life. But he is not born again. Nasa bhuyo vijayate. So here the term evam thus means the spirit is different than body. He who knows this difference in reality, not by bookish knowledge, but he really starts understanding it experientially, that the soul is different than body, while performing his duty according to his caste, creed, or stages of life, whether it is brahmacharya, grihastashram, sannyasi, whatever other stages of life, and the circumstances in which he is doing his karma, he is not born again. Every karma that he does, when he keeps this in mind, at the back of his mind, the difference between Prakriti and Purush, the nature and the spirit, he is not born again. Why? Because he knows that the Prakriti, with its evolutions, modifications, and instruments, etc., which appears in the form of universe or material world or this body is different from the self. Srishti is different than Paramatma. Similarly, body is different than the soul. So he is not born again because attachment to the modes of Prakriti is the cause of its rebirth. When we get attached to the three modes of our body, Satpurajatamo, that is the cause of rebirth. If we get detached from the karmas of our body, then there is no question of rebirth. Sarvatha Vartamanopi, act in any way, does not involve forbidden act. Nishiddha karma, not included in this anyway. It's not free for all anyway. Because he who knows Prakriti, he who knows Purush, he who has the knowledge of Prakriti and Purush both, with its modes as different from self, Prakriti is different from self, can have no desire to gain. Because whatever you get from Prakriti is unreal. So when this knowledge about Purush and Prakriti is obtained, then you don't have any desire from the material nature. When he has no desire, forbidden actions cannot be performed by him. Because desire is the only cause of performing forbidden actions. When there is no desire at all in your mind, why will you perform forbidden action? Isn't it? And coming to think of it, who makes the everyday decisions of our lives based on which we act? Our heart, our mind, or somebody else? How we act in our day-to-day life. A small story as to how we act in our day-to-day life. There is a person called Ramlal. He was in a village, but then he thought that for economic prosperity, I should shift to the city. So with his family, he shifted to the city. And to earn his livelihood, he opened a sweet shop. Mithai ka dukaan khol diya usne. And to attract the customers, he hung a slate outside his shop on which he wrote, "Fresh sweets are sold here. Fresh sweets are sold here." Then he sat in the shop waiting for customers to come and buy the sweets. A passerby stopped at the shop. He read the board loudly, looked at the board and read it loudly. Then he said, "Why have you written fresh? Fresh sweets are sold here. Nobody sells stale sweets. So this fresh word is redundant." Ramlal thanked him. "Oh, good suggestion you have given. Very good. Who sells stale sweets? Nobody." So he erased the word fresh. Now the board read, "Sweets are sold here. Fresh is gone. Sweets are sold here." The same day, another man came to his shop. He looked at the board and nodded his head in disagreement. "ये गलत लिखा, बराबर नहीं लिखा है." He said to Ramlal, "Here, is it necessary to write here? Sweets are sold here. Why you write here? Here नहीं तो क्या there? कहाँ पे? Your shop is here, no? So why you have to say here?" The moment anyone sees the sweets here in your shop, you will understand that the sweets are sold here, not somewhere else. Ramlal agreed. You have a logic. Yes, really. He thanked him and did as that passerby said to him. He erased the word here. Now the board read, "Sweets are sold. Fresh is gone, here is gone. Sweets are sold." After some time, a teacher from the city school came to his shop. He looked at the board and he said, "Sold? Of course, you have got the sweets for sale only, not for charity. आप क्या फोकट में दे रहे हैं क्या? You are sitting here for selling the sweets, no? Not for charity. So you say sold, sweets are sold here. Sold word is redundant, not necessary." Ramlal said, "You have got logic." Yes. He thanked the teacher, erased the word sold. Now the board read, "Sweets. Sold here, gone. Sold, fresh, everything gone." Now again he patiently waited for the customers. Now a wise man from the city came to his shop and said, "The smell of sweets coming from half a mile away from your shop. I was walking towards your shop and I could smell the sweets when I was far away. Is it necessary to write sweet shop?" Not necessary. People will know from the smell only. Ramlal said, you got a logic. Yes, he thanked that fellow. He erased the word sweets, which was the only word now remaining on that slate. Now, what hung outside Ramlal's shop was a blank slate, nothing written on it. All the words were wiped out. Ramlal again began to wait for the customers with that blank slate hanging outside his shop. Just then his wife came. She asked, "Why is this blank slate hanging around here outside our shop? Is this a way to attract customers? Hanging a blank slate outside?" She said to Ramlal angrily, "Why don't you write on this slate, fresh sweets are sold here? ऐसा लिखो ना उसके ऊपर आप. Fresh sweets are sold here." Thinking of all the events that have happened since morning, Ramlal understood one thing very well. That everyone has a different perspective of seeing and understanding the same thing. We all have the same senses to see, understand something, but it is not necessary that everyone understands and sees it in the same way. So we have to respect others' thinking also. This slok says, Nasa bhuyo vijayate. Bhuya is again. Abhijayate is to get born. As the butter once churned out of curd does not become curd again by any means. Similarly, having renounced relationship with the modes of Prakriti born out of Prakriti, a man is not bound by these modes again. When the butter has been formed out of curd, he cannot become curd again. He merges into the Parabrahma, and as Parabrahma is free from birth and death, he also becomes free from that cycle. Nasa bhuyo vijayate. The world is what you see it as. We saw it from the story. We know the story of 4 blind people also, and the elephant. Each one defines it differently. One says it is a thick column, one says it is a big rope. We know that story, no? So likewise, an ordinary person does not have the real knowledge of Purush and Prakriti, and they keep guessing. That's why we read this Adhyay, to know the clear distinction between Prakriti and Purush. The body remains functional due to the existence of super soul in it. We saw different roles of this super soul, Upadrashta, Anumanta, Bharata, Bhokta, Maheshwara, in earlier slok 22nd. So one who focuses inside and does contemplation and understands Nirgun Paramatma and Trigunatmak Prakriti. Nirgun Paramatma and Trigunatmak Prakriti, he does not get back in the cycle of birth and death. Because he becomes beyond time and space. He becomes Kalatit, like Parabrahma himself, Paramatma himself. And like the smoke cannot stick to the sky, similarly, this Jnani, who has clearly understood the difference between Prakriti and Purush, does not get bondage by his karmas. Therefore, he gets freed from the cycle of birth and death. Nasa bhuyo vijayate. Next slok. Dhyanenatmani pashyanti kechidatmanam anye sankhena yogena karma yogena chapare. Okay, that was one way of people to understand God. Some other people try to pursue super soul within their hearts through meditation. And others try to do so through cultivation of knowledge. While still others try to attain that realization by path of action. So meditation, knowledge, dhyan, and karma yoga. These are the 3 paths mentioned in this shloka. Variety is a universal characteristic of God's creation. We see it around. What kind of variety we see in this Srishti? No 2 leaves of the tree are alike. No 2 human beings have exactly the same fingerprints. How magical it is. 8 billion population of world, everybody is having different fingerprints. No 2 human societies have the same features. Similarly, all souls are unique. They have distinctive traits that have been acquired in their unique journey through the cycle of life and death. So in the realm of spiritual practice as well, not all are attracted to the same kind of practice. सभी ज्ञान योगी नहीं बन जाते, सभी कर्मयोगी नहीं बन जाते, कभी भक्ति योगी भी नहीं बन जाते. The beauty of Bhagavad Gita and our Vedic scripture is that they realize this inherent variety in human nature and account for it in their instructions in Vedas and in Gita as well. Here Sri Krishna explains that some sadhak, spiritual aspirants, find great joy in grappling with mind and bringing it under control. They are attracted to the meditating upon God seated within their hearts. So when they close their eyes and go into meditation, they focus on the God in their hearts. They release the spiritual bliss that they experience when their minds comes to rest upon the Lord within them. During meditation, when that anubhuti starts happening in them, their mind comes to rest. Others, they find satisfaction in exercising their intellect. The idea of distinction of soul and body, that is the jnana on which they focus. Body, mind, intellect, ego, and the soul, how they are different. They relish cultivating knowledge about the entities like soul, God, Maya, through the process of Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan, that is hearing, contemplating, and internalizing the firm faith. So this is second school of thought. Yet others find their spirits soaring when they engage in meaningful karma, action. They strive their God-given abilities of Shri, Indriya, Man, Buddhi in working for Him. Nothing satisfies them more than using the last drop of their energy in service of God. In this way, all kinds of sadhak use their individual propensities to realize the Supreme. Some use meditation, some use jnana, some use karma. The fulfillment of any endeavors involving knowledge, action, or love, bhakti, is when it is combined with devotion for the pleasure of God. You choose any path, but devotion has to be there. Devotion is an inseparable part of Adhyatma. Śrīmad-Bhagavad says, Sa vidya tan matira yaya. True knowledge is that which helps us develop love for God. The fulfillment of karma occurs when it is done for the pleasure of Lord. In Gita, there are many shlokas offering independently the means of God realization by meditation, by jnana yoga, and by karma yoga. Atma Samyog, 6th Adhyaya Bhagavad Gita, Shlok 24, it says, Sankalpa prabhavan kamans tyaktva sarvana sheshatah manassevendriya gramam vinemya samantataha. Completely renouncing the desires arising from thoughts of the material world, one should restrain the senses from all sides with the mind. In second Adhyaya, which is Jnana Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, Yam hinavyadhayante te purusham purusharshabha samadukha sugandhiram somratatvaya kalpate. He gets Amrut. That person who is not affected by happiness and distress and remains steady in both, remains equipoised, becomes eligible for liberation. So Amrutavaya kalpate. He gets the Amrut. He becomes qualified to get that Amrut. That means liberation. In second Adhyaya, which is part of Karma Yoga also, second, third, fourth, all explain Karma Yoga. End of second Adhyaya, there are few shlokas of Karma Yoga also, as we know. Shlok 71 says, Vihaya kamanya sarvan pumam sharadi nispraha nirmamo nirahankaras shanti madhigacchati. That person who gives up all desires and lives free from the sense of greed, proprietorship, kartrutva abhiman, and egoism attains the perfect peace. So different shlokas explain different means to attain the same destination, Paramatma. Which path is more suited to us? Gita gives us that freedom. Next slok. Annye tveva jananta shrutvanyebhya upasate te pita chatitarante eva mrityam shruti. So somebody may not be jnani. Somebody may not sit in meditation. He doesn't know how to sit for meditation. Somebody may not be a bhakta also. What does he do then? God says, no problem. सुनते रहो सिर्फ, श्रुतपा तो कर सकते हो. There are still others who are unaware of the spiritual paths, what we discussed in Shlok 24. But they hear from others. They are Shruti Parayana. They hear from others and begin worshipping the Supreme Lord. By such devotion to hearing from other saints, other Swamijis, they too can gradually cross over the ocean of birth and death. So merely listening to Bhagavad Gita, Vivechan, Bhagavad Gita, contemplation, doing Manan Chintan of that also takes us across this cycle of birth and death. So there are those who are unaware of methods of sadhanas, but somehow they acquire the knowledge through others and get drawn into the spiritual path. Nobody is born yogi or jnani, isn't it? They hear from some here or there. In fact, this is usually the case with most of us who come to spirituality at some stage in life. They do not have any formal education in spiritual knowledge, but somehow or the other, they get opportunity to hear or read about it. Somebody sends a link of Gita Pariwar and they get attracted to it. देखे तो सही क्या है उधर. Then their interest in devotion to the Lord develops, and then they begin their journey. In Vedic tradition, hearing from the Swamijis, from the saints, has been highly emphasized as a powerful tool for spiritual elevation. In Śrīmad-Bhagavad, King Parikshit, he asked Shukadeva, how can we purify the undesirable entities of our hearts? Our heart is full of lust, anger, greed, envy, and hatred. How to cleanse? Parikshit replied, Shukadev replied to Parikshit, saying that Parikshit, simply hear the descriptions of divine names, divine forms, divine leelas, divine virtues, divine abodes, and divine associates of God from a saint. This will naturally cleanse the heart of the unwanted dirt of endless lifetimes. We don't know since how long we are carrying this dirt in our mind, in our heart, in our antakaran, but this can get cleansed by just Shruti Parayana. When we hear from the proper source, we develop authentic knowledge about spirituality. Besides this, the deep faith of the saint from whom we hear begins to flow into us. We have the basic intellect. So whatever we hear through our ears goes to our brain, and then naturally thought process starts. Hearing from saints is the easiest way of building our faith in spiritual truth. Listen to our Pujya Swamiji, his discourse on YouTube or wherever you can join the link in the morning for say 30 minutes. And you will remain immersed in that sattvic mood for the whole of your day. So the Shruti Parayana has its own magic. Further, the enthusiasm for devotion provides the force that enables the sadhak to shrug aside the inertia of material consciousness and cut through the obstacles on the path of sadhana, spiritual sadhana. Enthusiasm and faith, utsaha and shraddha in the heart are the foundation stones on which the palace of devotion stands. A small story about the devotion. What is bhakti and what is devotional prayer? What is the difference? Bhakti and devotional prayer. A person saw in his dream that he had arrived in the paradise. Swarglok pahunch gaya. Okay. On reaching the divine atmosphere there, he gets immersed in the pleasant surprises all over. His heart fills with incomparable joy on seeing the serene atmosphere and the beautiful view that surrounds him in that heaven. Just then, he sees that God himself comes and welcomes him and accompanies him to see around the heavenly world. आइए मैं आपको स्वर्गलोक दिखाता हूँ. While traveling around the heaven with him, the Lord shows him special places, also telling him importance of those places. Comes and stops near a grand, beautiful room and says, from this room, we can see everything that is going on in the earth world. Come, let us see what is happening on the earth right now. It was a pleasant Sunday morning. The skies were slightly sunny. The whole temple was packed with people coming for prayer. With whom more and more people coming in, it was getting crowded. Everyone was praying to the God. Hands folded, praying for the God, praying to the God. The songs were sung by visitors, and the musicians were also there, playing music on the harmonium, on tabla, on mridang, on flute. The fingers of those musicians were dancing swiftly on their instruments, whether it is keyboard or tabla or whatever. The whole scene was visible very clearly like a movie from that magical room in the heaven. But whatever sound of prayer was supposed to be heard, that was not getting heard. Everything else was becoming clear, but the sound of prayer was not coming through. So the man got confused. He said, दिख तो सब रहा है, म्यूजिक सब चल रहा है, ये जो प्रेयर कर रहे लोग वो तो सुनाई नहीं दे रहे मुझे. I cannot hear the prayers. He said to the God, I can see everything clearly. People singing songs, musicians playing music. I can see it clearly, but I cannot hear the prayer and its sound. Why so? Is it magical room that does not allow you to hear the prayers? God said, yes, you are right. Those who do not pray from their heart, their voices are not heard here in the heavenly world. Prayer is an effective way of communicating with God, contacting or building a relationship with the God. The words of prayer should be such as to awaken a feeling in us. If it does not awaken feeling in us, how will it awaken feeling in God? Once the emotion is awakened, words are no longer needed. The Mukha Prarthana, silent prayer, can also be heard by God, provided it is with the devotion. Okay, let us go to the next sloka now, 26th. Yavat sanjayate kinchit satvam sthavara jangamam kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat tadveddi varadarshabha. Varadarshabha, O best of Bharatas, whatever moving or non-moving, sthavar jangam, moving or non-moving, being you see in the existence, know it to be a combination of field of activities, kshetra, and the knower of the field, kshetrajna. Kshetrajna sanyogat. दोनों का संयोग होने से everything comes into existence. But it is sthavar or jangam, whether it is moving or non-moving. Shri Krishna uses the word yavat kinchit. Yavat kinchit, meaning whatsoever form of life that exists, regardless of how enormous or how infinitesimal it is all born out of union of kshetrajna, knower of the field, with the kshetra, field of activities, Purush and Prakriti. Some traditions accept that existence of soul in humans, but do not accept the other forms of life also have the soul. They say only human beings have the soul. Horses, dogs, donkeys don't have soul. This concept condones the violence against them. They say we are not killing the human beings. No, that's okay. Only human beings have the soul. Rest do not have soul. However, the Vedic philosophy stresses that whatsoever consciousness exists, there must be presence of the soul. Without soul, there can be no consciousness. That is the principle of Vedas, Vedic philosophy. We know in early 20th century, Sir Jagdish Chandra Bose, the famous scientist, he established through experiments that even the plants, which are non-moving life forms, can feel and respond to emotions. His experiments proved that soothing music can enhance the growth of the plants. When a hunter shoots a bird sitting on the tree, the vibrations on the tree seems to indicate that it weeps for the bird. And when a loving gardener enters the garden, the trees feel joyous. The changes in the vibrations of the tree reveal that it also possesses consciousness. माली का हाथ लगते ही सब पेड़ पौधे फूलने लगते हैं. We see this in day-to-day life also. And can experience the same balance existence of emotions. They also understand Try doing this one day. If you are reading Gita, if you have done Kanthasthikarana of Gita, of any adhyayas, when you are watering your plants in your garden, whether it is on terrace or in your front yard or backyard, while watering the plant, keep singing Gita. See the magical effect on your plants. An experiment worth making. So these modern observations corroborate Shri Krishna's statement that all life forms possess consciousness. They are the combination of eternal soul, which is the source of consciousness, and the body, which is made of insentient material energy, that is Prakriti. So yavat sanjayati kinchit sattva samarjangam kshetra kshetra sanyoga tadviddhi bharatarshava. In a village, there was a well where a saint often sat in meditation. One day, a young man came to him and said, Gurudev, you say that the living being is not the body but the soul. आप बोलते living being body नहीं है, soul है. But with my eyes, I can see only the body. I cannot see the soul. I feel that my thoughts, my feelings and my mind are what I truly I am. So where is the soul in all this? Swamiji, he smiled gently and asked the young man to bring a lamp. The young man brought the lamp. The saint then said, light up the lamp. The lamp was lit. The saint asked, what do you see? The young man said, I see the lamp and the flame. Saint said, if the lamp breaks, what will remain? Young man said, the flame will go out. The saint asked, why? Because the flame depends on lamp, no? And the Swamiji said softly, the lamp is the body. The flame is the soul. The flame is visible through lamp. The flame is visible through lamp, but the lamp itself is not the flame. Lamp is a body. Flame is the soul. Lamp itself is not the flame. The body, mind and senses are the instruments made of Prakriti, nature, but the consciousness that makes them alive is separate. That is Atma, that is soul. The young man went silent, thinking deeply, and the saint continued saying that when a lamp breaks, the flame may be rekindled in another lamp, isn't it? Similarly, when the body perishes, the soul takes another body. The flame goes to another lamp. So the soul goes to another body. Lamp changes, but the flame remains same, eternal and untouched. The young man, he understood the principle. For the first time, he understood the difference between temporary body and the eternal soul. What is the key message of this story? The body changes, the mind changes, the thoughts also change. But the soul is unchanging, just like that flame. Birth and death belong to Prakriti, nature, not to the soul. The soul is never born and never dies. Okay, next sloka 27. Svam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatse vinashyante yah pashyati pashyati. They alone truly see. Sab pashyati sapashyati. जिन्होंने ये देख लिया वो सब सही देख रहा है. They alone truly see who perceive the Paramatma, the super soul, accompanying the soul in all beings. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. And who understands both to be imperishable in this perishable body. Vinashyatse vinashyante yah pashyati sapashyati. Soul is imperishable, super soul is of course imperishable, but both these imperishable things, they reside in perishable body. They see the truth. Yah pashyati sapashyati. In all perishable entities, there is one common element. That is the imperishable Tattva, Paramatma Tattva. When we go to sell our golden ornaments to a goldsmith, for example, he sees only the main element, the gold. That is bangle or bracelet or what, he is not interested in that, no? He sees what is the content in all this. He evaluates based on only that gold. Similarly, in all perishable entities, the Jnani, he looks for that gold, only that imperishable God. He doesn't look at the body. the ornament, what type of ornament it is. He looks at the gold. So when we get birth, a novel starts in our life. Every rebirth is a new chapter in that novel. The novel gets completed only when the soul gets merged with the super soul, moksha. Till that time, the novel keeps on going on and on and on. For how many chapters? We don't know. It may go on for 84 million, 84 lakh chapters, 84 lakh unis, that means. So when that chapter, the novel will end, we don't know. But until we get moksha, the novel will continue. Shri Krishna had said in earlier adhyaya also, in fifth adhyaya, Yat sankhe prapyate sthanam tadyoga iripigamyate ekam sankhenchi yogencha yapashyati sapashyati. The expression yapashyati sapashyati, they alone truly know the things, they alone truly see the things, what they are, what it exactly is. It was used in fifth adhyaya also. Yapashyati sapashyati. Now Shri Krishna Bhagavan uses it again to state that it is not enough to see presence of soul within the body. Yat sankhya prapyate sthanam tadya vigrigamate ekam sankhenchi yogancha yap pashyata pashyati. That is not enough. Seeing soul in the body is not enough. We must also appreciate that God, the Supreme Soul, is seated within all bodies. Not only the soul, but the super soul is sitting in all bodies. His presence in the heart of all living beings was previously stated in the shloka. We saw that in 23rd shloka also. Evam vetti purusham prakriti gune saha. So it is stated in other shlokas of Gita as well, that super soul is seated in the human body along with the soul. You see 10th adhyaya, 20th shlok, or you say 18th adhyaya, this 18th adhyaya which we will study later, the 61st shlok of this. In other Vedic scripture also, it says God is one who resides in the hearts of all living beings. He is omnipresent. He is the supreme soul of all souls. That is what the Upanishads say. Bhagavad says, Bhavan hi sarva bhutanam atma saki swadrig vibho. Meaning God is seated inside all living beings as witness and as the master. So he is master as well as witness both. Ramayana says, Rama Brahma Chinmaya Abhinasi Sarva Rahita Sava Aura Pura Basi. The Supreme Lord Ram is eternal and beyond everything. He resides in the hearts of all living entities. So our scriptures have repeatedly harped on this point. The Supreme Soul accompanies the individual soul as it journeys from body to body in the cycle of birth and death. In the next shloka, Shri Krishna Bhagavan will explain how realizing the presence of God in everyone changes the life of that sadhak. How magical it is to know this about the existence of super soul and soul in the body and how this changes the life of that person. What is the magical effect of it? Shlok 28. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishvaram nahinasthatmanatmanan tato yati parangatim. Those who see God as Supreme Soul equally present everywhere. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishvaram. Do not degrade themselves nahinasthatmanatmanan by their mind. Therefore, they reach the supreme destination. Tato yati parangatim. See, the mind is pleasure seeking by nature. सबको खुशी चाहिए ना जिंदगी में. If the mind is pleasure seeking, and as a product of material energy, it is spontaneously inclined towards the material pleasure because it came through the material energy from Prakriti. So direct flow of it is towards the Prakriti, the material energy only, material pleasures. If we follow the inclination of our mind, we become degraded deeper and deeper in material consciousness. The way to prevent this downslide is to keep the mind in check with the help of intellect. Mind follows the orders from intellect. For this, the intellect needs to be improved. If intellect is not improved, is not refined, is not pure, how it can instruct the mind? And how to do that? How to improve and purify the intellect? With proper knowledge, with true knowledge. Those who see the God as the Supreme Soul present in all beings, begin to live by this knowledge. And this is the process of cleansing of intellect. When the intellect gets cleansed, the intellect orders mind to think only proper things, to do only proper things. Mind says, yes, okay, boss. When the mind is pure, because of the intellect is pure, it instructs the senses to do good karmas. The senses do not have their own intellect. They act based on advice from the mind only. Mind acts based on advice from the intellect only. So we have to attack the intellect first, to purify the intellect first. And to purify intellect, we have to acquire the knowledge, Jnana. That is the purpose of learning Gita. To cleanse our intellect. Then accordingly our mind will get cleansed. When the mind is cleansed, the senses will do only Satkarma, Sattvic Karma. So his intellect is now purified and has acquired this true knowledge. Their mind no longer sees the personal gains and enjoyment in the relationship with others, because their minds are turned away from the material world. They neither get attached to others, nor the good done to them, nor hate them for any harm caused by them. Rather, seeing everyone as a part of God, they maintain a healthy attitude of respect and service towards others. They naturally refrain from cheating, from mistreating, or insulting others. When they perceive in them the same presence of same God, by cheating others, I am cheating the God. By insulting others, I am insulting the God. That is what their Dhyan teaches them to their intellect. Intellect says the same to the mind, and the mind says the same to the senses. In this case, the senses, our tongue, which speaks. So the tongue stops speaking bad things about others. In addition, the man-made distinctions of nationality, caste, gender, status, skin color, they become irrelevant for a person of that wisdom. In this way, they elevate their mind by seeing the God in all living beings and finally reach the supreme goal, supreme Paramatma. It is the main objective of our life. So, samam pashyani sarvatra samavasthitamikcharam na hinastyatmanatmanan tato yati parangatim. Next shloka 29. Prakrutteva karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yap pashyatata atmanamakartaram sapashyati. They alone truly see who understand that all actions of the body are performed by material nature, by Prakriti. While embodied soul actually does nothing. Akartaram sapashyati. Or Atma or soul is akarta, that means it does not do anything. Prakriti ja karmani sarvasha. Prakriti does everything. The soul is inactive. It does not do anything. But his presence is necessary for body to act. If the soul leaves the body, can the body act? Not possible. All types of karmas are done by the body under the influence of Prakriti. One who understands this, he understands the truth. Sapashyati, yapashyati, sapashyati. Same phrase has come here again. So all karmas are nothing but a play of different gunas of Prakriti. Sat Prajatamo. We keep dancing to the tunes of these three gunas of Prakriti for the whole of our life. The soul has nothing to do with this dancing body to the tune of this Prakriti. The auditorium, for example, has nothing to do with the drama that is getting enacted on the stage. Auditorium is auditorium. It does not interfere and does anything. Whether some political leader is speaking, or some dance is going on, or some spiritual adhyatma lecture is going on, auditorium has nothing to do with all that, isn't it? Suppose the play is going on the stage, the director is behind the screen, maybe in the wing, and cannot be seen. All artists, however, are busy displaying different emotions of love, attachment, hatred, laughter, shrungar, whatever we see, fear sometimes. When the play is over, the auditorium becomes empty and silent. It becomes avyakta, empty and silent, but still retains itself in that form. Whether the play is going on or not, the auditorium remains unaffected. On the stage of this world, similar plays are getting enacted every moment. The Prakriti is in the form of director, is not seen by us. And the stage itself is Nirvikar, it is unattached, like our auditorium. Prakriti keeps directing vast varieties of plays at the same time. But the stage of the world has nothing to do with this. What act is going on? The clouds are superbly active in the sky, rapidly running, but the sky has nothing to do with this, with the clouds. It is still and stable. Only presence of soul causes Prakriti's game of actions. The soul in itself does not do anything. One who understands this is a Jnani. Bhagavatam says, the ego of being the body and the pride of being the doer trap the soul in samsara of life and death. The ego of being body, I am body, and the pride of being the doer, I am maine kiya hai, kartritva abhiman. This traps the samsara of life and death. In material consciousness, the ego makes us identify with the body. Thus, we attribute the actions of body to the soul and think, I am doing this, I am doing that. But the enlightened soul perceives that while eating, drinking, talking, walking, and during all other activities, it is only the body that acts. Soul has nothing to do with this. You are talking and sleeping. Yet, it cannot shrug the responsibility of actions performed by the body. Why? Just as the president of a country is responsible for the decision of the country to go for war, the president does not go to the border to fight the war, does he? He doesn't go. Similarly, the soul getting identified with the body is held responsible. Like in that case, the president is held responsible for waging the war, though he doesn't fight the war himself. Similarly, the soul getting identified with the body is held responsible for the actions of a living entity. And even though they are performed by the body, mind, and intellect, the soul is held responsible. This is why the spiritual aspirant should keep both sides in mind, about soul and about body. Soul, we say, does not do anything, but is still held responsible, no? How to come out of it? I am not body, I am soul. Maharshi Vashishta, he had instructed to Shri Ramji, Karta Bahir Kartantra Aloke Vihara Raghav. Rama, while working, externally exert yourself as if the results depend on you. When doing any karma, we should exert ourselves as if the result of this karma depends on me. But internally, realize yourself to be the non-doer. Internally, you should not claim that I am the doer. Internally, I am a non-doer. But externally, you should exert yourself as if the result of this karma depend on you. That is the great teaching of life. Next sloka. Yada bhuta pratakbhavam ekastamar pashyati tata eva cha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. When a man of wisdom sees the wide variety of beings as abiding in the singular God, yada bhuta pratakbhavam ekastamar pashyati. When he sees the vast expansion of this world as being established in one God, at that moment he attains the Supreme Parabrahma. Tata evacha vistaram brahma sampadyate tada. The ocean modifies itself in many forms, such as waves, the froth, the tide, and the ripples. One who is shown all this individually for the first time may conclude that these are all different. Wave is different, froth is different, tide is different, ripples are different. But the one who has the knowledge of the ocean, he sees the inherent in all these varieties. That whether it is wave or froth or tide or ripples, it is a part of the same ocean. Similarly, there are numerous forms of life in existence. From the tiniest amoeba to the most powerful celestial gods, demigods. All of them are rooted in the same reality, the soul, which is a part of God, seated in the body which is made from the material energy, Prakriti. So the house is provided, the house for soul is provided by the Prakriti, which is perishable. But the one sitting in that soul and the super soul are imperishable. The distinctions among the forms are not due to the soul, but due to different bodies manifested by the Prakriti. Upon birth, the bodies of all living beings are created from Prakriti, material energy. And at death, their bodies again merge into Prakriti. When we see the variety of living beings all rooted in the same material nature, they come from Prakriti and go back to Prakriti, we experience the unity in diversity. That all have come from the same source and all are going back to the same. So this is unity in diversity. And since material energy is the energy of God, Prakriti is created by God only, Such an understanding makes us see the same spiritual substratum, the base, pervading all existences. The experiencer of this knowledge, he leads the Brahma realization. But the ignorant one focuses on the form, whereas the Jnani focuses on the essence, the core, the substratum of the form. And he finds no difference at the level of core essence in all entities. At the core level, all entities are same. Same Paramatma Tattva is there in all. Thus he says, who should I call good or bad? Who should I regard as my friend or my enemy? Who should I regard as mine and not mine? When it is one Lord in one and all of them, who am I to distinguish? Moreover, all that exists is because of God. We have no right to be judgmental about any part of his creation. Ye acha hai, wo bura hai. Who are we to judge that? When it is created by God. On seeing a sinful person, a papi person, a disciple of Swamiji once commented, this evil man does not deserve to be alive. He should be killed. He should die. He is such a nasty fellow. Swamiji retorted saying, who are you to say that he should die? Who are you? One who has been given life to him is God. He belongs to the God, and it is God's wish that he stays alive. You do not have any right to be judgmental about God's creation. All that exists is because of God. Further, anaditvan nirgunatvat paramatma yamavyaha sharirasthopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyate. This is the great. Na karoti na lipyate. The Supreme Soul is imperishable, avyayam, without beginning, anadi, and devoid of any material qualities, nirgunatvat. Son of Kunti, that means Kaunteya, although situated within the body, sharirasthopi, it neither acts nor is tainted by the material energy. Na karoti na lipyate. So the entire game of this phenomenal world is the game of Prakriti. God has nothing to do with the functioning of Prakriti. He created Prakriti and Prakriti is working based on its own planning. That is why don't ever complain, God, why did you do this? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Or why you did not do that? God does not do anything. Let us not blame the God. God does not do anything. Actions is the purview of Prakriti. And it functions as per its own norms. It has three gunas. It has a record of our past samskars. So why to bring God in our actions? It has its own intelligence, Prakriti. It has a record of our previous lives. Moreover, it has been working in this fashion and will continue to do so eternally. Furthermore, the Parabrahma is attributeless and will continue to be so eternally. However, Prakriti cannot function in the absence of Parabrahma. Like the body cannot function in the absence of soul, Prakriti cannot function in the absence of Parabrahma. Prakriti needs Purush for its functioning. But what happens is that this very Prakriti that needs the substratum of Purush, the support, the foundation of Purush for its working, envelops and conceals the Purush himself. This is like we see the plant vines climbing up on the wall such that after a few years they end up covering the entire wall that supports them. From a distance, if you see, you don't see the wall, you see only those plant vines. So you don't see the wall at all. Similarly, the Prakriti originates, spreads because of the underpinning support of Parabrahma, but ends up masking the same Parabrahma. Clothes cover up our body such that the clothes are seen, not the body. Likewise, Prakriti is seen, but not the Purush. But Prakriti cannot tend the Purush because Prakriti is not permanent and is changeable, while Purush is eternal and immutable. God situated within the heart of living beings as Supreme Soul, Paramatma, never identifies with the body, nor is affected by the states of existence. His presence in the material body does not make him material. He does not become Prakriti. Super Soul is Super Soul, much beyond Prakriti. He does not become Prakriti by occupying the body created by Prakriti. Nor is he subject to the laws of karma. Super Soul is not subject to law of karma. I mean, he is not subject to law of karma. Obviously, he is not subject to the cycle of birth and death. Though these are experienced by the soul, but Paramatma is not responsible for birth and death cycles. How is this soul? That God explains with an example in the next shloka. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyadakashanopalipyade sarvatravasito dehe tatatma anopalipyade. Space, that means the sky, holds everything within it. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyadakasha. But is being very subtle, does not get contaminated by what it holds. Nopalipyate. Similarly, though its consciousness pervades the body, the soul is not affected by the attributes of the body. Sarvatra vasita dehe tathatma nopalipyate. The soul experiences sleep, waking, tiredness, refreshment, and other states due to the ego that makes it identify with the body. Actually, soul never sleeps, soul never talks, soul never gets tired. But because it's identified itself with the body, when the body is sleeping, the soul says, I am sleeping. One may ask, why changes in the body in which it resides does not tempt the soul? Why it remains alipta, nopalipyate? Shri Krishna explains this with the example of space, sky. It holds everything, yet remains unaffected. Because it is very subtle. Subtler than the gross body, gross object it holds. The sun eclipse makes us see as if the sun has overridden by the moon. But there is no change whatsoever in the sun. Similarly, in the eclipse of Sukha and Dukkha, the soul appears to be overridden, but it remains unattached, alipta. We make it lipta. When we add water to the mercury, does the water enter into mercury? No, it remains separate. Similarly, though living in the body, the soul remains unattached, like the mercury remains unattached to the water. Soul is subtle energy compared to the body. It retains its divinity even while identifying with the material body. Similarly, this continually changing Prakriti, which repeatedly goes through the cycle of creation and destruction, does not exert any effect on the God, on the attributeless Parabrahma. There is no change in the Parabrahma at all. So this Yatha Sarvagatam Saukshmyad Akashan Nopalipyate Sarvatra Vasudeva Dehe Tadatma Nopalipyate. We can understand this slok not by sitting on the chair in our living room. We have to go on the terrace. So let us all go to the terrace now and try to understand this slok better. Let us watch the sky from our terrace and see what happens in the sky. Clouds are coming, white clouds, brown clouds, dark clouds, coming and going with the wind. Sky, sky, same blue sky. A disciple, he once asked his Guru, Gurudev, I understand that the soul is eternal. but I still get disturbed by joy, by sorrow, by praise, by criticism. Why does the mind shake if the soul is unaffected? Mind is shaking, soul is unaffected, you say. The Guru pointed out to the sky. As we are on the terrace now, we should also look at the sky. Tell me, what do you see? Guru asked that Shishya. The Shishya's disciple replied, I see the clouds moving. Some white, beautiful, some dark, stormy. I see all sorts of clouds in the sky. The Guru asked again, and what about the sky? The disciple looked carefully at the sky and he said, the sky does nothing. The clouds are moving, but the sky remains the still. Sky is not moving, only clouds are moving. The Guru smiled and said, exactly. The clouds are like thoughts, like emotions, like experiences. Sometimes happy, sometimes sad. They come and go like the clouds. But the sky is like that Atma, like our soul, wide, silent, pure and untouched. The Shishya, he paused, absorbing the meaning of what his Guru has said. But the Guru in the meantime continued, saying that when it rains, does the sky go wet? No. When the clouds thunder, does the sky shake? No. When the clouds disappear, does the sky lose anything? Nothing. Nothing. The disciple shook his head. No. He said, no, Guru, nothing. Sky does not lose anything. Then Guru said, likewise, your true self is never disturbed. Only the mind gets affected. You are the sky. You are not the cloud. You are mistaken that you are cloud. But you are not cloud. You are the sky. The disciple finally understood that joy and sorrow are appearances like clouds. The praise and insults are like passing clouds. The self remains unattached. So when people say that the sky has become very dark, it explains their ajnan. Sky never goes dark. Jnani knows that Akash is the same serene blue. Clouds are covering it. But that does not make sky as the cloud. But the Ajnani starts believing that the sky has gone dark. So he is identifying clouds with the sky. Like the Ajnani identify himself with the body. Soul identify itself with the body. That is Ajnan. Sky is sky and clouds are clouds. Soul is soul and body is body. That is the difference between Prakriti and Purush. And the soul, that Akash example given by God, it fits into well this kind of philosophy. That Akash does not get lipyate. Similarly, soul is not getting affected by the karmas of our body. Okay, next sloka, 33. In earlier sloka, Shri Krishna explained that self is not tainted. No palipyate. That is, the self is not the enjoyer. In this sloka, Shri Krishna explains how the self is not a doer. How? Yatha prakashayate krishnam lokamimam ravihi kshetrang kshetri tatha krishnam prakashayati bharata. Earlier God gave example of sky. Now God is giving the example of Ravi, the sun god. Just as one sun illuminates the entire solar system, so does the individual soul illuminate the entire body with consciousness. Yatha prakashayate krishnam lokamimam ravihi. One sun illuminates the entire solar system and all activities are performed in its light. But it has no feeling of doership. Sun gives the light throughout the day for how many crores of years? It is going to give for next crores of years. But every evening it does not send a bill to us. I have given you today so much of light. Now this is the payment for my bill. Please pay. Does it do that? It is with the feeling of, without feeling of doership. A learned person studies Vedas in the light of sun, while a hunter shoots the animals in the same light, does Papa Karma in the same light. So Punya Karma and Papa Karma keep happening in the same light of the sun, but the light is not held responsible. Is the light responsible for that? For the study of Vedas, for the hunting of that hunter, is the light responsible? No. So Yatha Prakashyateka Krishnam Lokam Varvi. So soul is like that. And Kshetrang Kshitrita Krishnam Prakashyati Bharata. Like the sun, one Kshetrajna, the spirit, Atma, soul, illuminates the entire field. That means the bodies. That is, all actions are performed in the light of spirit, the self. Yet, the self neither performs actions nor does it cause them to be performed. And what is the body consisting of? We saw it in the earlier shlokas of this Adhyay, 5th. Ma bhutani hankaro buddhira vyaktamevacho indranadesha ikancha panchacha indriya gocharaha. And some vikars, ichchadivasa kundukkam sangada chetanadvati etat kshetram samasena savikara mudarutam. The kshetrajna eliminates this body of 24 elements. And the soul eliminates what? Other two bodies. What are those? See, the sun illuminates the gross universe only. That is, the actions of the universe are performed in the light of sun. While the self, the spirit, illuminates the gross, subtle and causal body. Sthula Sharir, Sukshma Sharir and Karan Sharir. Gross, subtle and causal bodies. All the three kinds of bodies. That is, in its light, all actions of three kinds of bodies are performed in the light of soul. In the performance of physical actions, the physical body, that is Sthul Sharir, gross body, is used. In reflection and in meditation, the subtle body, the Sukshma Sharir, is used. In trance, the causal body, the Karan Sharir, is used. And the self, the soul, eliminates all these three bodies. The Kshetra is this body, but man is unaware of the inner sun. Inner sun is our soul, which illuminates this body. Therefore, man is in the dark, involved in the cycle of birth and death, and afflicted by the pair of opposites, Dvandva, Sukha, Dukkha, happy, sad, favorable, unfavorable, respect, dishonor, all these Dvandvas. When he sees the inner light, his darkness will disappear, and the dawn of bliss will descend on him. That is the beginning of Atmajnana. Just as one sun illumines the entire world, one supreme consciousness illumines all living beings in the cosmos. Bodies are many, but the light of awareness is one. In a large ancient temple, a festival of lights was being celebrated. Like it is celebrated in Ayodhya, and more than 25-26 lakhs lamps are burned, are lighted on one night. So thousands of lamps were placed in every corner of the temple. Big lamps, false lamps, golden lamps, clay lamps, all sorts of lamps. A young student who had studied philosophy, he came to the temple with his guru and he proudly said, Guruji, look, there are so many different flames everywhere. Each flame must be separate and unique. The lamps are unique. Each lamp is unique, some small, some big, some golden, some clay. So each flame is also unique. The Guruji smiled. He said nothing, but he picked up a long stick. And from one lamp, he lit all other lamps, one by one, as we do in Diwali. When there is a row of lamps, we take one matchstick or one puljadi, and with that we light all the lamps, isn't it? Then he asked, tell me, my son, is the flame different in each lamp? Or is it the same fire manifesting through many different forms? The student looked carefully at all the flames. Though the shapes of the lamps were different, some tall, some short, some decorated, some plain, some small, some big, all that, the light was the same everywhere. The light was warm, golden, shining equally in all the lamps. Like in Ayodhya, they light up how many? 25-26 lakhs of lamps. Is the light different in all of them? Light is same, lamps are different. Lamps are in lakhs, but the light is same. The Guruji then explained, bodies are like these lamps. Different colors, different shapes, different nature, different capacities. But the consciousness that shines within every being, giving life, awareness and thought, is one. Like the light is one in all these lakhs of lamps. When one identifies with the lamp, there is a difference. When one recognizes the light, that is the unity. Now, whether we are lamp or whether we are that light. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, you are that light. Why you identify with the lamp? Lamp will come and lamp will go. The light will remain eternal. What is the message of this small story? Whether it is a saint or a sinner or a wise person or a child, all appear different, like different lamps appear different, only due to body and mind. Inside everyone, the same divine light, Atma, Parabrahma, is shining. When the ego is dropped, one begins to see the unity in all these lives. Like you see the same light in all different types of lamps, you see the same divinity, same unity in all the lives. This vision leads to compassion, peace, and liberation. That is the jnana of this shloka. Let us continue with the last shloka of this adhyay. Then we'll take a quick summary as to what we have learned from this adhyay. What are our important takeaways from this lamp? Not lamp, from this adhyay. So, Shlok 34. See, Krishna is now, Shri Krishna Bhagavan is now winding up this topic of Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Thinking that we have had enough now, you have understood the concept, so I want to wind up now. Okay. By mentioning the reward of fully grasping the difference between the two, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, what do you gain by learning the knowledge that Shri Krishna Bhagavan has given in this adhyay? Kshetra Kshetrayorev Mantarai Jnana Chakshusha Bhuta Prakriti Mokshencha Ye Viduryanti Te Param. So those who with the eyes of wisdom, Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, Jnana Chakshusha, they perceive the difference between Kshetra, the field, and Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. Kshetra Kshetrayorevam Antarai, दोनों के बीच का अंतर. Those who know with their jnana chakshu, eyes of wisdom, and the difference between prakriti along with all its evolutions and the super self Paramatma, bhuta prakriti mokshancha ye viduryanti te param, they attain the supreme. So the knowledge of this adhyay is that important to attain the moksha. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says we need jnana chakshu, the eyes of wisdom, to know the difference between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. In reality, the material nature's given body, Prakriti given body, and the God given soul are two different things. But due to ignorance, we consider them as one. Walking in the dark, we cannot see our shadow, isn't it? Similarly, due to ignorance, we cannot see our soul. A rope lying in the dark looks and appears like a snake. सांप है कि रोप पे पता नहीं क्या है. Similarly, due to ignorance, the body and soul appear to be the same because of darkness in our mind. Ignorance. But on getting jnana, when the light is coming, we realize that rope is rope and snake is snake. Body is body, soul is soul. On attaining this jnana, the dvaita goes off and our oneness with the supreme soul, super soul, gets realized. Kshetra Kshetra, the difference is to be understood by Jnana Chakshu. God says Jnana Chaksha. While 9th Adhyay, Rajavidya Rajagu Yoga, Rajavidya explained by God in 9th Adhyay is to be grasped by the Charva Chakshus. And for beholding the Virat Rupa of God, we need Divya Chakshu, which God gave to Arjuna in 11th Adhyay. Shri Krishna is enabling Arjuna to attain supreme Jnana through all these three Chakshus. Charma Chakshu he already has. Then Jnana Chakshu he has given in 2nd Adhyay, in all the Adhyayas of Geeta. And special Divya Chakshu he gave it to him in the 11th Adhyay to see his Virat Rup. The gist is, know what the world is and know who or what the knower of the world is. Know the experienced and know the experiencer. Know the illuminated and know the illuminator. Further, know the way of getting liberated from Prakriti. All the way is open. This is this can be seen with the eyes of wisdom only. With the sight of wisdom, you will see that you were always liberated. If we have that Jnana Chakshu. We were never in bondage when we start using our Jnana Chakshu. One small story which I tell normally during this shlok, it is applicable for many shlokas in Bhagavad Gita, but it is equally applicable to this shlok also. That how we get bondage ourselves. Once a Arab visited a city and he bought 10, 12 camels and was returning to his village. It was getting dark and he thought about taking rest in some village. He stopped there near a fakir's place and he inquired to the fakir, "Can I stay here for a night?" The fakir said, "Yes, of course, you can stay here. The place is big enough, so you can comfortably stay, no problem." Then the Arab said, "But I have 12 camels with me and I don't have a rope long enough to tie them all and they may run away in the night when we sleep." The fakir said, "Don't worry, I will take care of your camels. You sleep quietly. Don't worry. I will take care of your camels." The Arab thought that fakir has a long rope, but the fakir says, "No, no, I don't have any rope. Why should I have rope here?" The fakir just went close to each camel and did the miming action of trying to tie them down one by one. बांध दिया आपको, आपको बांध दिया है, तुमको बांध दिया है, इसको बांध दिया है. He went to all 10, 12 camels and did this miming action of tying each camel. The Arab thought that this fellow knows some black magic or what. That without rope he is binding the camels. So must be knowing some black magic. But he was very apprehensive and intermittently was looking through the window of his room in the night if the all camels are sitting or some have ran away. He was relieved that not one camel moved from its place. In the morning, the Arab thanked the fakir and went near the camels, trying to make them get up and walk. But the camels did not move at all. He looked at fakir. ये हिल क्यों रहे, क्या दिया आपने इसको, क्या दवाई मिले क्या कुछ? Fakir said, "How can they get up? I tied them now yesterday night. In front of you I tied them all. I have to untie them now." Then he went close to each camel and again did the act of miming as if he is untying them. चलो छोड़ दिया तुमको, जाओ, छोड़ दिया तुमको. He did the act of miming act of untying them. Then he patted them on the back. हो गया भैया, जाओ. When he finished, all camels got up and started walking. The Arab was highly surprised. He asked, "What did you do to these camels?" Fakir said, "Nothing. I did nothing. I created an impression on them that they were tied down and cannot move. They assumed that as the truth and kept sitting as if they were really tied down. When I said that they were now free, they got up and started walking. It is their perception that they are tied down or now they are free. I did not do anything." We all in our real life are tied down with such fictitious ropes in our life and assume them to be real bondage when there are no bondage. We create our own bondage. We create our own ropes. But in reality, we are all bondage free. We create our own fictitious ropes in the life. Coming back to the shloka, to know the distinction between kshetra and kshetrajna means to identify or see God, that means soul, in the body or in prakriti, that is the nature, and also know them as distinct and apart, that both are different. Body is different, soul is different, prakriti is different, Paramatma is different. With this knowledge, the body gets free from the bondage, which means fear of death, fear of pain, fear of grief, etc. automatically and instantaneously evaporates. But to achieve this success can be a lifelong odyssey. ऐसा नहीं आज तेरा वाद्य पढ़ लिया और कल सब खत्म हो गया. It's a lifelong odyssey. But nothing can be more rewarding than this. If we understand this concept, nothing can be more rewarding than this adhyaya. It means attainment of greatest victory on the earth and eternity thereafter. In fact, being is essentially divine. We are all divine actually. The body is not his reality. It is his fetter, a chain that binds him to this material world. But the same body, same senses, same mind and same intellect, when used properly, after refining, can get him liberation also. Gita reading is for that only, to purify our mind and intellect so that we can attain liberation. Yes, to get rid of this I am body feeling by knowing his true self or by identifying with his real self. The way up for spiritual liberation is Brahma Vidya. That is the God contact, which only can enlighten. Guru can teach. He can teach how to get Brahma Vidya. For us, the easiest way is to adopt the teachings of Gita in our day-to-day life through our actions, through our thoughts. If we were successful in this endeavor, we are bound to get liberated. That's why regular Chintan Manan of Bhagavad Gita shloks is a must. If we are aspiring for moksha or liberation, reading and understanding and doing contemplation, Manan Chintan of these shlokas and bringing them in our day-to-day life is what is required. Gita helps us to attain the discriminatory knowledge which enables us to understand and realize that we are not the material body. We start identifying ourselves with the spiritual nature as souls and tiny parts of the God. This leads us to march ahead on the path of spiritual elevation and release from the material bondage, material nature. And treading on the path of spiritual enlightenment, such persons of wisdom attain their ultimate goal of God realization. Shri Krishna Bhagavan says, know who or what the kshetra is, or who or what is the kshetrajna, and then live blissfully. इतना जान लो और तो खुशी से रहो ना, कौन मना कर रहा है आपको? The one who knows this is known as Tattvajnani. The one who understands the distinction between Prakriti and Purush is known as Sankhya Yogi. We discussed it, that this principle of Purush and Prakriti emanates from the Sankhya Yoga. The one who abides in his real self, his own real self, is known as Dhyana Yogi. And the one who performs karma established and in Dhyana Yoga is known as Karma Yogi. So these three are different. Dhyan, Sankhya Yogi, then Dhyana Yogi and Karma Yogi. As I said in the beginning of this adhyaya also, in my opinion, 13th chapter is very, very important, extremely important, pivotal chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It is not that other chapters are not important, they are also important, but this chapter is incomparable, 13th chapter. The one who understands this chapter comprehensively, it means all the vials of delusion have been lifted from his mind. Sare parde dur ho gaye. He gets free from ego, he gets free from attachment, from his vasanas, and thus attains the supreme peace. Now, though this is the end of this chapter, 13th chapter, as we normally do at the end of every chapter, after completing this wonderful adhyaya, we will take a quick review of the entire adhyaya to find out what is our takeaway from this. What have we learned in this adhyaya? Because when the things are going on for sessions after sessions, sometimes it becomes difficult to keep remembering what exactly we discussed in the first session or the second session. So in the last session, invariably we should take a quick review of all the things that we have covered in this adhyaya so far. But before that, a small story about this adhyaya which summarizes what we have learned in this. Kshetra Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga. We understood that body is the Kshetra, the field. Atma consciousness is the Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. The bodies differ, but the consciousness is all one in everyone. Real knowledge is recognizing this unity. A sage, he lived besides a very peaceful lake at the edge of a forest. Students from faraway lands would come to learn from that Guruji. One day a student asked him, Gurudev, scriptures say that Atma in me and Atma in all beings is the same. But how can that be? Everyone looks different, behaves differently, thinks differently. So how can they all be same? How can we all be same then? The sage smiled. He said, come, let us come to the walk to the lake. They reached the still waters of the lake, shining like mirror. The lake was very clean. The sage asked the student to look into the water. The student saw his own face, very clear, in that still water. When the sage picked up a stone and threw it in the lake, ripples formed, water got disturbed. His reflection became distorted and unclear. The sage asked, now do you see your face clearly? The student replied, no, it is all shaking, disturbed, unclear. The sage said, your mind is like that lake. When it is disturbed by desires, disturbed by fear, by ego, by jealousy, by anger, you cannot see the truth clearly. But when the mind is calm and still, you see your own self reflected in all beings. The student, he remained silent, absorbing the meaning of what his Guruji has said. The sage continued, this water is the same, but the shapes that appear on its surface are different. Similarly, consciousness is one, but bodies and personalities are different. When the mind becomes still, you see oneself shining in all. So this is the difference, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Differences we see in the world belong to body and mind. The essence of life in every being is the same, the divine consciousness, but for that clarity, we have to keep our mind still and clear. When the mind becomes calm, we experience unity, not merely understand it intellectually, but we experience it. So this becomes an experiential knowledge, not the bookish knowledge. Now we'll take a quick review as to what we have learned in this Adhyay. Quick summary explaining what the key concepts of this Adhyay, the philosophy of this Adhyay, and the inner meaning of this Adhyay. The 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Kshetra Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga, makes a profound shift in the dialogue between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. After discussing various paths, such as Karma Yoga in 2nd, 3rd, 4th Adhyay, Jnana Yoga in 2nd Adhyay, Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga in 12th Adhyay, Lord Shri Krishna now turns Arjuna's attention inward. Bahar ka bahut bahut ho gaya. Now look inward towards understanding the nature of self and the distinction between body, mind, and indwelling spirit, soul, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. This chapter introduces two fundamental concepts. One is Kshetra, the field of activity, that is the body, mind, and material world that can be perceived or experienced. And second is the Kshetrajna, the knower of the field, the conscious principle, the Atma, the soul, who witnesses and experiences the field. So these two concepts are put forth in this Adhyay. Through this division of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Shri Krishna Bhagavan reveals the secret of eternal reality, the difference between perishable and imperishable, the seen and seer, matter, consciousness. Arjuna's question was, in the book published by Gita Press, this first question from Arjuna does not appear in the Adhyay. It starts directly from Idam Shariram Kante Kshetra Vidiyate. But there is a first question from Arjuna before this Idam Shariram, in which Arjuna has asked, what is this field, Kshetra? What is the overall field? What is Kshetrajna? What is the true knowledge? And what is the object of this knowledge? He wants to understand the inner nature of existence. What is that acts, feels, and knows this human experience? And then Shri Krishna Bhagavan replies, Idam Shariram Kante Kshetra Vidiyate. So Shri Krishna Bhagavan answers, Arjuna, this body itself is the field. And he who knows this field and its functions is called the Kshetrajna, the knower of the field. The body, along with its senses, emotions, thoughts, and intellect, is the field, Kshetra, the realm of experience. It is ever-changing, born and dying, influenced by the three gunas of Prakriti, Sat, Parajotamo. The knower of the field, Kshetrajna, is the soul, the Atma, the conscious witness, unchanging and eternal. Just as sunlight enables all things to be seen, the Atma illumines all experiences in the body and the mind. Shri Krishna Bhagavan further clarifies that while each being has its own individual body and soul, the Supreme Soul, Paramatma, is the universal knower present in all. Kshetra Kshetrajna Cham Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. I am the Kshetrajna of all souls, all bodies. He says, know me as the only knower of all fields. Thus, individual self and Supreme Self are essentially one. Different only in expression, but not in essence. In essence, they are same. What constitutes the field that we learn in this Adhyay? Kshetra consists of 5 great elements: Panchamabhuta, earth, water, fire, air, and ether; ego, ahankar, intellect, buddhi; the universe, unmanifested prakriti, nature; 10 senses, 5 jnanendriya, 5 karmendriyas; the mind, mana, and 5 objects of senses. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. Sound, touch, form, taste, smell. These combine to create the body-mind complex through which the experiences occur. Within this field arises desire, likes and dislikes, happiness and sorrow, and the sense of I and mine. It is through identification with these experiences that the soul becomes bound. Now, what is the true knowledge? That also God has explained in this adhyaya. What is the true knowledge? This is Dhyan, rest is all Adhyan, that we read the slok. The true knowledge is about knowing the facts, about cultivating virtues. Dhyan is not only information, but the inner disposition that leads to wisdom, that is Dhyan. Humility, amanitvam, non-pretentious, adambhitvam, non-violence, ahimsa, kshanti, forgiveness, arjavam, uprightness, acharyopasana, guru seva, service to the guru, shaucham, purity of mind and body, sthiryam, steadfastness, and atma vinigraha, self-control. This is the Dhyan. All passion towards sensory pleasures, awareness of evils of birth, old age and death, and detachment from family pride or possessions are marks of true wisdom. Janmrita Jaravadi Dukkha Doshanda Darshanam, that we saw. In short, the real knowledge is spiritual maturity and not intellectual pride. Intellectually, people may be very bright, but spiritual maturity, has it come to them? That is important. God is insisting on spiritual maturity, not on your intellectual level. You may be a very brainy fellow. Now, what is the object of this knowledge? The ultimate goal of knowledge is to realize the Parabrahma, the supreme reality, which is eternal, imperishable, all-pervading consciousness. The Supreme Being is described as beginningless and endless, neither being nor non-being, Sat Asat, present everywhere, yet beyond perception, unmoved, yet moving faster than the mind, inside and outside of all beings, the light of all lights, self-luminous and beyond darkness. The divine presence is the same in all. It is the essence of existence itself. And then the concept of Prakriti and Purush is also wonderfully explained in this adhyaya. The union of Prakriti and Purush. Krishna describes how material and spiritual aspects of creation coexist. Prakriti and Purush, how do they coexist? Prakriti, nature, is the source of all physical and mental activities. The body, the senses and mind are the manifestations of Prakriti only. Purush, the spirit, is the conscious witness, unchanging and eternal. Prakriti performs all actions, Purush merely observes. However, the ignorance makes the individual identity with the body and say, I act, leading to bondage and suffering. When the seeker realizes that all actions belong to Prakriti, that the self is a mere witness, he becomes free from karma and attains liberation. So this we learn from the union of Prakriti and Purush. Now, how do the wise people experience this? The enlightened person sees the same self in all beings, whether it being a saint or a sinner or a human or an animal. So he sees the same element in all of them. He sees that life is one, that the divine spark pervades all. Such a person, he translates his ego and attachment. And doing that, he neither hates nor desires. He acts selflessly, knowing that the self does not act or is not tempted by any action. Just as the sun shines equally upon all without attachment, so too the wise remain serene amid all dualities, dvandvas, pain and pleasure, success and failure, honor, dishonor, all these dvandvas, he remains same serene. What is the supreme goal that we attain through this adhyaya? When one realizes the oneness, he experiences the moksha, the liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The liberation is not something gained in future It is the recognition of what has always been true for us. We are already liberated. We discussed that in the story of that Arab and camels. That we are not body, we are not mind, but the eternal consciousness that illumines all the experiences. The Gita thus concludes this chapter by saying, those who perceive the distinction between field and the knower of the field, Kshetra and Kshetrajna, who knows the process of liberation from Prakriti, they attain the Supreme. What else is to be known? If we know what is the body, what is the soul, what is the super soul, and we know that we are not bondage, we know the process of Prakriti, we know the process of liberation Prakriti, then what stops us from liberation? Nothing. This chapter unites Sankhya philosophy. So what is Sankhya philosophy? Distinguishing between Purush and Prakriti, and also the Vedanta philosophy. What is Vedanta philosophy? Sees both as expressions of the same Parabrahma. Prakriti and Purush are the expression of same Parabrahma, is Vedanta philosophy, and Prakriti and Purush are different, is the Sankhya philosophy. This then combines both the philosophies, Sankhya philosophy and Vedanta philosophy, both. The body, senses and mind belong to the nature, while the self is pure awareness. Yet, in the ultimate truth, both are inseparable expressions of the same divine, like waves and ocean. Knowing this, one transcends, crosses over the illusion of separateness and attains inner peace. What is the message takeaway for us in this adhyay? Know thyself. Begin by observing what is changing and what is changeless in me. The body is changing, thoughts changing, emotions changing. Witnessing the consciousness is not changing. I am the same what I was when I was 2 years old, and I am the same at this age also. So this consciousness in me has not changed. Body has changed, thoughts have changed, emotions have changed, everything has changed. That witnessing presence is the self. That is the first takeaway. Second, cultivate inner qualities. Humility, forgiveness, and detachment are not moral ornaments. They are not only for talking, but essential tools for the true knowledge and for bringing in day-to-day life, day-to-day behavior. Third, see unity in diversity. The wise see no distinction between high and low, rich and poor, good and bad. All are expressions of the same divine reality. Fourth, live as a witness. Act fully in the world, but remain inwardly detached, knowing that the self is beyond all doings. So these are the few important takeaways. This 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita stands on one of the most metaphysically profound portions of the text. It teaches that entire universe, the body, mind and world, is the field, and while the consciousness that knows this is the knower, is the Kshetrajna. When ignorance makes us identify with body and mind, we fall into bondage. When knowledge dawns, we realize our true nature as pure awareness, untouched by birth and death. So Gita's wisdom here both is cosmic and intimate. It says, it explains the creation and consciousness, yet also points us towards the inner realization that we are not perishable field, but are the eternal knower within this field. To know this truth is to be liberated, to live in peace amidst the changes of life, and to experience unity in the heart of all diversities. This is the yoga of field and the knower of the field. Yoga, connection of Prakriti and Purush, Kshetra and Kshetrajna. The union of understanding that leads to the ultimate freedom. Ultimate freedom is our moksha. So this adhyay is important from that point of view. Here we end. Thanks so much for your patience. Jai Shri Krishna. Now the forum is open for your questions.
Yes, thank you, Vikas, Vaidya Bhayaji. As always, such an enlightening session, and all the messages in the chat box are echoing the same thing. And really, not only you completed the interpretation, but also gave us the summary, the gist of the entire shloka, entire adhyaya in those 4 points. How self never changes, the humility, understanding the reality, and then remaining a spectator, which is really, only by sadhana, continuous sadhana, we can achieve it. Really, Bhayaji, it was indeed a very, enlightening session. And before we get started with the questions from our sadhakas, just a quick announcement for those who might have missed the announcement in the beginning. L2 grammar sessions are scheduled for tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. IST, Indian Standard Time, in English, and the 11 a.m. session will be in Hindi. So you can please plan on attending the session of your choice to learn the fundamental grammatical aspects of Sanskrita language pertaining to Geeta chanting. And Geeta Jayanti is celebrated on the Shukla Ekadashi of Margashira Masa every year. Geeta Pariwar is celebrating this divine Mahotsav from November 15th to December 31st. We can be a part of this divine event by organizing Geeta Parayana, Shobha Yatra, etc. in our geographical areas, and also registering the same on the online portal. Not only that, there are 60 online Parayana sessions being planned by Geeta Pariwar. We can also be part of this Parayana, and then please stay tuned for the details. Now, let us, it's obvious, you know what it is. You can raise your hand, turn on the video, and Vikas Bhayaji is there to answer your question. Thank you, Bhayaji. Yes.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Prana Krishna Sahu Bhayaji. Very nice name. Jai Shri Krishna. Yes. Please go ahead.
I have nothing to understand from this. I have already understood this chapter. But my question is, what is the difference between Sankhya Yoga and Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga? You said, but I could not remember.
What is the
difference between Sankhya Yoga and Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga? Second
Sankhya
chapter and
Yoga?
third chapter.
Okay. The Sankhya Yoga philosophy, it believes only in Prakriti and Purush. It does not recognize karma as an instrument of attaining moksha liberation. It says that all karmas are putting us under bondage, so let us not do any karma. Let us focus only on soul and body, Prakriti and Purush. Sankhya Yogi hates karma. While Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga, it teaches us to focus both on Kshetra as an instrument of attaining the Kshetrajna. We have to ultimately attain the Kshetrajna, as we discussed in 22nd Shloka. The Kshetrajna in us, who is earlier Upadrashta, Anuvanta, Bharta, Bhokta, ultimately we have to realize the same Kshetrajna in us as a Maheshwara, and that we can do by performing Sattvic karma through our Kshetra. So Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga gives equal importance to karma. So karma is equally important for attaining the liberation. While Sankhya Yogi, they feel that only attaining doing karma is not a good idea. Any karma you do, even if you do sattvic karma, it puts us under bondage and it derails us from the path of attaining moksha. So let us discard this idea of doing karma. They don't like karma, Sankhya Yogis. So this is the difference between Sankhya Yoga and Kshetra Vibhaga Yoga.
Very beautiful explanation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhayaji. Yes. Any other questions? No hand raises so far. Bhayaji, there is one question in the chat box by Balakrishnan Bhayaji. His question reads, as humans, we are blessed with intellect to know what is right and what is wrong and can follow the path of righteousness to attain salvation. So does it mean other creatures of the universe will continue in the cycle of birth and death till they are born as humans?
See, all yonis are bhog yonis. People who have committed some kind of sinful acts, in 14th Adhyaya we read this, that those who perform sattvic karmas, they go to the heavenly abode. Those who are some sattvic, some rajasi, little bit of tamasi also, they come to the human world. And those who are totally gone cases, who are totally tamasi, they go to the lower species, lower yonis. Now these lower yonis are the one which are bhog yonis, and people are to suffer those yonis unless they cleanse their balance sheet of papa karmas. So when they cleanse their balance sheet, then they are again qualified to get the human yoni. But until such time, they have to get yonis after yonis to cleanse their balance sheet. Once they qualify themselves to come back to the human world, they are again given a chance by the Lord to attain moksha. If they misuse that chance again, then they again go back to the lower species. Now, we don't know for our case whether we have been given a chance for the first time or is it a repeated chance that we are wasting all the time. We don't know. So, at least after knowing Gita, we must understand and realize that this may be our last chance. If we don't encash this chance, we may also go to the lower species or at least to the rebirth in the human world. Don't know in which family, in which background. Getting a human life in a country like Yemen or Syria, is it better to get a dog life in India, isn't it?
Yes.
So even human life is not comfortable in all spaces. We are lucky to be born in India, that too in a Hindu Sanatan family. We should be thankful to the God for that. Definitely we have done some satkarma in our previous lives. That's why we are born in India and that too in a Sanatan Dharma. But this Dharma has given us an opportunity to attain the moksha. If we don't utilize this opportunity given by the God, then we have to blame ourselves.
Yes, very well said, Bhayaji. So, this is definitely a blessing, and to be part of this, the whole Sanatana Dharma and then Satsanga like Gita Pariwar, and that's really,
Very right.
yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? No hand raises so far. If anything, we will take it. Otherwise, yeah, we will continue. Okay, just before we conclude, just a quick minute to thank our tech star of the day, Srinivas Golakoti ji Bhayaji, for coordinating the session so beautifully, our entire technical team and all the devotees who attended this session. Let us all continue our Gita sadhana and attend these sessions to enrich our spiritual knowledge. May the Gita continue to be our life guide. Let us thank Bhagavan Shri Krishna for guiding us all along and for making this session successful. To do the prarthana, we have Shri Venugopal D.H. Bhayaji. He is a retired banker and professor from Bengaluru, Karnataka, associate with Gita Pariwar since September 2024. Bhayaji is doing seva as a group coordinator and tech star while pursuing his own sadhana at L4. Jai Shri Krishna, Venugopal ji Bhaya.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Krishna.
Yogesham Satchidanandam Vasudevam Vrajapriyam Dharma Samsthapakam Veeram Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Shri Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Beautiful recitation, Bhayaji. Thank you so much. Yes, now let us all chant Hanuman Chalisa.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधारि बरनउ रघुबर बिमल जसु जो दायक फलचारि बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरौ पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देव मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीसति लोक उजागर रामदूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा गानन कुंडल कुंचित केसा हाथ वज्र ध्वजा विराजय कांधे मूंज जनेऊ साजय शंकर सुवन केसरी नंदन तेज प्रताप महाजगबंदन विद्यावान गुणी अति चातुर राम काज करिबे को आतुर प्रभु चरित्र सुनिबे को रसिया राम लखन सीता मन बसिया सूक्ष्म रूप धरि सिंहि दिखावा विकट रूप धरि लंक जरावा भीम रूप धरि असुर सहारे रामचंद्र के काज सवारे लाय सजीवन लखन जियाए श्री रघुवीर हर्षि उर लाए रघुपति कीनी बहुत बड़ाई तुम मम प्रिय भरत ही समबाई सहस बदन तुम रोज सगावै अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावै सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीसा नारद सारद सहित अहिसा जम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि कोविद कहि सके कहाते तुम उपकार सुग्रीवहि कीन्हा राम मिलाय राजपद दीना तुम्हरो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना जुग सहस्र योजन पर भानु लील्यो ताहि मधुर फल जानू प्रभु मुद्रिका मेलि मुख माहि जलधि लांघि गए अचरज नाहि दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुमरे तेते राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होतन आज्ञा बिनु पैसारे सब सुख लहै तुम्हारी सरना तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना आपन तेज समारो आपै तीनों लोक हाकते कापै भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवै महावीर जब नाम सुनावै नासै रोग हरै सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावै मन क्रम वचन ध्यान जो लावै सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा जा और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे। चारों जुग परताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नो निधि के दाता असबर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सदा रहो रघुपति के दासा। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्तन धरई हनुमत सी सर्व सुख करई। संकट कटई मिटई सब पीरा जो सुमिरई हनुमत बल बीरा। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई छूटहि बंदी महासुख होई। जो यह पढ़ हनुमान चालीसा होय सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेरा की जय नाथ हृदय महडेरा। पवन तनय संकट हरन मंगल मूर्ति रूप। राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुर भूप। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय।